Ladies and gentlemen, cloud transformation is the process of transitioning a business data, apps, and software to the cloud. Each year, more and more businesses are making the leap to the cloud. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome Ms. Sarene Lee, Country Manager of VMware, to discuss Accelerate Enterprise Cloud Transformation to fuel growth and innovation. Please welcome.
Hi. Have a pleasant afternoon, everyone. And I think you had a great session this morning, yeah? And perhaps your sumptuous lunch too. I hope you enjoyed the lunch. And I am very glad to be here today to share with you a lot of the facts and challenges, lessons learned in terms of cloud. Now, just now I was in the audience, so during the panel session. So in the panel session, I will show of hands how many of your organizations here that you're working for has cloud, yeah? And to my surprise, not many, but I think there are a few. Okay, so which is good, because it's never too late to go onto a cloud. And of course, was it too early to go onto a cloud? See, the thing is, if you are too early, as early adopters, then you don't have lesson learned, you cannot learn from the experience. But right now, the good thing is, cloud has been in the market for so long, and a lot of early adopters have gone through many challenges that they see, yeah? So, again, even if your organizations are not on cloud, but I believe in this room, every one of us are at least an eligible cloud user. So if you are using Spotify, Netflix, or Grab, yeah, I suppose during COVID time, I can't think of anyone that they don't use Grab food or Panda food, right? So everybody does that. So you are a qualified cloud user, okay? Now then comes to the places that we work. So you can be a user in the organization, or you could be some form of implementers or people that are supporting cloud, either now or eventually. So I want to show you some of the surveys that we did from last year and this year as well. So the data are, pretty current. So we were surveying a lot of our existing cloud customers. So they were the ones that have gone into the cloud journey. They experienced a lot of them. Okay. So when cloud, it could be also the application modernization, because there are steps that you have to take before you go onto a cloud journey. Now, being a not early adopters, the advantage is you get to learn and you get to prepare, right? And to see how you're going to embark into the journey. So the executives are telling us 48% of their applications on average will have to migrate between the environments. When? This year. Now, what do you mean by between environments? Because cloud can be a private cloud, public cloud, more than one public cloud, or hybrid cloud. Yeah? So the environments can be all these things. So usually, the first thing that we do into cloud, most of the people will have to look at maybe just a private cloud or a hybrid cloud. Now, we're going to look at a lot of statistics later to see where would the people go in terms of hybrid, what do they do with the data center, how would they cut off the applications. We're going to look a little bit of those statistics. Now, 91% of the executives are looking to improve consistency between the public cloud environments. Now, the famous public cloud or the hyperscaler, who are they are the AWS, the Google, the Microsoft, and we have Huawei, we have Alibaba, you name it, many of those, right? So each one of them are also selling their benefits, their niche to all of us. So if you were to embark into one for now, and you have also an existing on-prem applications. So the question is, how do you make the two environment consistent? Because if you are looking at the operations for your organization, it would take a toll for your team to say, how am I going to maintain the two environment, two different sets of processes, rules, application coding, right? So these are the things that the executives, when they're in the cloud environment now, they are also worried. Now, 92% of the CXO, they need to look into application modernization in the next 6 months. Why is application modernization important? The world is changing. I'll give you a very good example. When the country is to the loan moratorium, how many of the banks can react just like that? When the government say, we need this, and the bank say, okay, we're going to give it to you next month. No. If you could recall, how many months do our banks give that loan moratorium to our people? Why is it so? Because a lot of all these capabilities are in core banking, and core banking is in the it's a traditional application. So when in the legacy, the way we were not doing the like we have to take time. That's why application modernization is very important. If let's say all the banks have already modernized that core banking, could provide the capabilities very fast. Now when people talk about application modernization, what does it mean? People go into microservices. Thanks. Do I take it out? Sorry for the technical glitches. Oh my goodness, I sound different, huh? Okay. All right. So, yeah, we were talking about the different capabilities that you can provide and how fast you can provide when your applications are modernized. So, if today you are not going to cloud yet, perhaps the first thing that you could consider are what are the applications that you want to modernize to at least give that fast and furious, fast capabilities, right, to your customers and to your management. Am I keep clicking? Okay. So we did another survey. Last year, we were asking how many applications you have in your environment, yeah, Mr. Cloud users, Mr. Customers, that you want to move to a hybrid cloud environment, or rather, a multi-cloud environment. That means you already have a private cloud, then you move to one public cloud, and then what happened to the next public cloud? Now, in 2021, 73% of the existing cloud environment, they would say, yeah, I'm going into multi-cloud. Now, in just 1 year, the percentage grew to 87%. So there are more and more people in just 1 year think that, I better go into multi-cloud. The question is, why? Why do you have to look into multi-cloud? Isn't it one cloud enough? Isn't it one public cloud enough? Or one private cloud enough? Let's look at what the people are telling us. What do they want? 49% of them are saying that they need more than one cloud provider because they want the flexibility. So we look at capabilities, flexibility, function, features, flexibility. So one cloud provider will not be able to give that to you. Now, second top drivers, business continuity. Just now in the panel session, right, we heard about what happened if there's a system down, what do you do with it? Yeah? So, you have, let's say you have one production cloud in one of the hyperscaler. What happened if that hyperscaler cloud was down? How do you look at business continuity?
So these are the areas that you need to consider. Would your business continuity be on-prem? Would your business continuity with a second hyperscaler? So these are the worries that people are looking for, right? They had to solve. Now the third top drivers are a single public cloud environment will not be able to give you the functionalities that you want. Because every hyperscaler, they have their own niche. Yeah? So AWS could say, oh, I'm very good at giving you the bare metal. Google may say, you know what, I can be very well in doing data analytics. So you might not be able to find what you need in a single hyperscaler. So that is one of the top 3 drivers that why do people want to go into multi-cloud. Now, you can read this, yeah, the bottom words here. I think it's quite relevant in this group, okay, because it talks about the mix of the data centers and multiple cloud providers. Now, some companies, the management may be thinking, cloud will give us cost savings. Cloud will give us speed. So why do we need to still maintain the data center? Scrap it. Now the question is, one size doesn't fit all. Some may think, maybe we can. Some may think, maybe we can't. So let's take a look at the statistics here. So the box over here at the left-hand side are the most popular box because even when you go into the cloud, what people need are mix of data centers, meaning not just one data center, and of course, multiple cloud providers. Now, of course then, would you think that would be very, very costly? It depends on the business that you are supporting, right? But of course, from the scalability standpoint, of course, the mixture of data center and the mixture of different cloud providers will give you the ultimate benefits. Now, the second popular option would be the mix of data center and one cloud provider. Now, that would usually be the time when you first embark into a cloud journey. So your existing data centers are here. You probably have your production in the data center and your business continuity in data center in another one. And then you are looking at spinning off your new initiatives with a public cloud provider. That one is probably the fastest way of how a lot of companies are embarking into the cloud journey. That means you don't mess with your legacy system. Let it run. And what about your capabilities on supporting the business in a very fast way? So speed is important, yeah? So this could be another popular choices for our environment, okay? Now then we also look at, some people are thinking no more data center. We retire all the data centers, but we have multiple cloud providers. That could be an option too. If your business has no data residency limitation. Yeah? For instance, your data can go anywhere outside of the country. Not an issue. You don't have to worry about your own environment, security, not so much of the team. So that could be a choice to say, I'm going to retire my data center and just go to multi-cloud, right? Then you can exploit the benefits of the multiple hyperscaler. And of course, the later ones would be no data center and just one cloud provider. So if you are coming from a small operation, perhaps one cloud provider is sufficient. Yeah? Now, we also heard about whereby our board or our top management and say, why do you want to go to cloud? Well, they say, oh, they give us 35% revenue and of course, a lot of cost savings. Yeah, so it's usually, those are the things we write in our justification paper, right? But right now, a lot of the top management, they are sitting on the other side. They are asking our IT, why can't we go to cloud? Because they are also educated with facts like this. Increase revenue, we're going to be fast, you're going to, save a lot of cost. So it is true in a sense, because those are the perceptions and belief and experience that a lot of early cloud adopters, they experience. So it can be true. Then assuming if you can get 35% revenue increase with the faster delivery on your applications, it will be a very good justification why you go to cloud. Now, cost savings, we hear about from the panel just now, right? Cost savings, because if you go to cloud, then you can save your data center, you can get less servers and so on, right? So that could be an area that you could also justify. Now, if these 2 points are true, then the question is, what is holding you back? Can't really see very well. Okay. So we look at the different areas, choices, and dependencies. Why is that holding us back? Okay. Now we look at perhaps the top part first, application transformation. When you want to go onto a public cloud, you have choices. Choice number 1, we say we go native. What does it mean? Going native to any public cloud, that means you have to refactor your current applications and rewrite into the cloud native language. Now, AWS native is different from Google native. It's different from Microsoft native. It's different from Huawei. It's different from Alibaba. So today you say, oh, I love AWS. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to refactor whatever number of applications. Yeah. Now, that's good and bad. But if you were to do that, you have to think ahead and do a lot of pre-planning. For instance, is your team ready? Your applications ready? Or are you thinking of even the future vendor login? You are willing to go through that? Yeah? Because you see, cloud is a commodity, Yeah? So AWS, fighting with all this, Google fighting with everyone. So the rates, hopefully they keep going down so we're more efficient. But yeah, so it's a really competitive game with the hyperscalers, right? So then the question is, if you were to go into native, you are locked down by a particular vendor because you already refactor your applications based on a native environment. So for you to change to another one, if next time, 2 years down the road, another hyperscaler say, I'm going to give you 50% off of what you're paying. And of course, management is happy, but the question is, how fast can you move from one native to the other, right? So it's your choice. Now, of course, there's also other choices whereby whether you want to do a local cloud. There are many companies within Malaysia, they are also offering a local cloud services. For instance, Time.com, for instance, TM1, and there are also a lot of IT partners that are doing it. So you have a choice whereby you want to go local cloud, want to go the international branded hyperscaler type. It depends on, again, how much of your data can go up. Okay, and it depends on your strategy. Okay, how you want to look into certain information going out of the country. Now, I don't know how many of you have heard about the word sovereign cloud. Sovereign cloud means your data or your information that you put in a particular public cloud vendor, they have to be confined to the local government only. Okay? So, a lot of hyperscaler, they are not sovereign cloud. What does it mean? It means if you go to Azure or AWS or Google, so they are the American companies. So of course, if you go to Huawei and Alibaba, they are Chinese, right? So if they are not sovereign cloud, that means any of this government, they can send a warrant to their companies and say, I want you to retrieve the information from this country on this company. So when they are not sovereign cloud, they are subject to provide all this information to their government. So another point that you want to think when you want to put your information on which cloud. Okay. Now, of course, your choices of operators, you want to look at a purely managed services, from your cloud providers, or is it a cloud that you want to manage yourself? Okay, so now, when you want to embark into cloud, how many of the applications that you think you want to retain as traditional or legacy, and how many that you think you want to move to a modern environment? Okay, so in 2021, 45% of the people will think that, yeah, I'm going to move to modern applications. A year later, more people think that they should move their application into a modern environment. Simply because COVID really changed the world. Yeah, people are expecting a lot more capabilities that all these applications will bring to us, and therefore we have to change fast. Now, we talked about native cloud. Yeah, remember, if you want to go onto a public cloud with their native languages, that is, native cloud. So we have Gartner that helped to do some surveys on native cloud. So the people are saying, native cloud is difficult. They are slow and they're expensive. So remember, the early adopters went through that. So Gartner did a survey. That is what the people are telling us. So if you go native, it's not going to be as fast, because when you need to refactor your applications onto the native cloud, you need to build your skills, right? You need to also plan how you're going to do it, and the actual work of doing that is going to take you a long time. So the challenges will be their inflexible infrastructure, because currently in your environment, a lot of the infrastructure could be aging. So a lot of the public cloud outside, of course, they're using the latest version, the best and the greatest, right? So if your environment right now is not as current as the public cloud environment, so if you were to move some of the applications up there, and guess what? There's also inconsistent. How are you gonna bridge your local application to your new application up there? How are you gonna talk to each other, right? So there's integration problem. There is also inconsistency of the version. How many updates do you need to do? When you update up there, you update down here, right? So a lot of things you have to consider when you want to go into a public cloud native environment. Okay, and there's also skills problem all the way, right? And how many types of skills do you think you need to maintain with your team and your environment? As it is right now, right? As it is right now when we have applications on premise, and guess what? There are a lot of certifications that you need to get your team to do. And and because the on-prem technologies are also, changing. Just imagine how many certifications, how many online learning that you have to go through, right? So the areas are in security, areas in cloud, areas in, perhaps, you have Zoom, you have a lot of things that you need to support. So then, if you add one more native, how long do you need to train your people? And the talent pool in Malaysia is also a challenge, right? Okay, so let's look at what are the things you can do when you want to transform your enterprise. Transformation is inevitable. We have to change, yeah? So first, we have to look at modernization on your application first. So modernization, when I was talking about what are the areas that you can go in. So start looking at applications that you could convert to Kubernetes. Yeah, because when it is Kubernetes, it is much easier to move them to anywhere. Okay, and even you said, okay, not gonna move to cloud, but once you change it to microservices, Kubernetes, it's easier for you to manage and to change. Right? So Kubernetes is very important for modernization, and it can give you at least 5 times, higher developer productivity. So look into that. Now the second thing is on your cloud management platform. So today you have on-prem cloud, yeah? And tomorrow you say, I'm going to move to at least one provider. So you still need to cater for the cloud management capabilities, a platform, so that you have consistency between your local cloud, here your private cloud, and the public cloud. And of course, your infrastructure and your cloud must be compatible. Okay? Because inconsistency will give you very much higher cost. Yeah, because you need to maintain 2 different environments. Okay, so now I must put this chart there because security is a problem. Security is a problem in all industries. Because when we, read the news, we're saying that, that's fraud everywhere. People are suddenly, lost a chunk of money from their account and they don't know why, right? And we have credit card fraud. And we also, see on the newspaper whereby CITOS is, there are 13 million records are selling in the black market. So if you are running an environment in which you have a lot of citizen data, security is very, very important. Or your customers' data, they're very important. Okay, so I must stress on security. Okay, and especially when you want to go into the cloud environment, the ransomware or the attack can come from many, many areas. Yeah, so you have to look into not just your firewall, but look into your network security. Look into your endpoint. Look in your database security. So these are the areas that you really, really need to build. Okay. Now, so again, the technical challenges, a group was saying, top problem is security, okay? And some people are saying that concern over business disruption when they are doing the modernization and moving to cloud. So how do you address the business disruption? We heard from the panel just now, planning, right? Is your team ready for skills? Are you looking at consistency? What happens to your DR? Yeah? So all these are planning that you need to do because your management will ask you, how much downtime you need when you move all these applications to the cloud. Will we call it coexist? How fast can we do, right? Now, of course, lack of budget is also an area. Why is it lack of budget? We have a huge entity in Malaysia. They embarked into a cloud journey for many, many years. So, of course, at that time, they hear that, cloud cost savings, right? So they say, very good. So they have a few hundred subsidiaries. So they go, we're going to move to cloud. So all subsidiaries say, we're going to move to cloud. Why is it so? Because moving to the cloud to them, they get spin off the instance very easily, right? So they don't have to wait for the process to buy a server and to install a server, wait for the delivery and everything, right? Now, if they could do the spin-off and say, today I need 20 instances. Next week I'm going to have a spike in my business. Can I have another 30? It's fast, right? You just give a PO now and we could do it, right? Don't need to wait for hardware delivery. So this company, they did so much spin-off so fast. And guess what? From a cloud strategy to a storm strategy. Right now, they're getting out of control. The cost is spiking up, and they don't know which unit or which department is using what cloud, how much. So when they need to do a chargeback, they don't know who to charge to, right? And some of the instances that they spin up in the cloud, they don't know whether there are people using and how much they are using. Do they really need it? So some of these things we have to be very careful, and we need to think of how we can handle things like this, which is sometimes we call it, budgeting of cloud, or how healthy is your cloud. It's part of the chargeback mechanism, okay, and help you to predict how much cloud that you really need. Yeah, so you need to think about that. Okay, now we talk about skills. Of course, this is the theme of this event. Now, skills is very important, right? So the IT skills gap have cost organization and can cost the organization about 300 billion if they have delay in the releases. I am sure you also hear about some companies whereby they got hacked because they forgot to update certain servers, certain network. And therefore, it would cost the company a lot of losses, right? And what about the cost to grow, right? So these are the areas that we need to look at in terms of skills. Now, nearly 90% of the business and project milestone, you can meet that if you have a well-trained team. And then we can also look at the future business needs, that you want to embark. Okay. Let me skip some of those. Okay, now, knowledge skills assessment. What do you need to do as of now when you're planning for your cloud journey? You need to know where your team skills are. Are they just a pure operators, with some perhaps a little bit dated skills? Or are they following, the applications modernization skills already with Kubernetes, microservices, all this, right? So look at where they are now, and then you identify how you want to grow to cloud, where you want to grow to cloud, how fast you want to go to cloud, which cloud, hybrid cloud, public cloud, with data center, without data center. Okay, you have to look at how you need to bridge that skills gap. Okay, now, so this is a heat map. Usually, we will help our customers. So we look at server, server virtualization or storage or operation cloud, you name it. Yeah. So we look at the individual and give them a scoring to see where they are. Then you can look at, oh wow, my team is maybe not ready. Right? And then you come up with a plan. How fast can you get the team ready? And what does it take for you to get your team ready? Okay? So, of course, you can ask, the vendors that will give you the different type of certification. Certify them as architects or engineers or admin or operators. Yeah? Because all these roles are equally important. Doesn't mean that they are only architect, they are more important. In fact, if they are supporting the environment, they have to be certified, right? So we can have look at cloud management certification. Now, the application modernization is important, yeah, because before you move to cloud, look at your environment. Okay, so I think 10 minutes. Okay, so thank you very much. So if anyone would like to talk to me, welcome. Yeah, so you can get my numbers from the event, organizer. Yeah, so. Sorry? Oh, Q&A? Oh, sure, Q&A, come. Any questions? Or are we, still processing our lunch? Yeah, so you either, put your energy up here or your tummies, right? So, yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Hope to talk to you all soon and again. Thank you.
Give a round of applause to Miss Sarene Lee. Thank you, Ms. Sarene Lee, for the insightful talk. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Ms. Kelly Yao to present the appreciation plaque to Ms. Sarene Lee as a recognition for contributing insightful information and making today's event successful. Please welcome. Thank you, Ms. Kelly Yao. Honorable Delegate